We're all beginning to get a little nervous about the sinking economy with high costs and job destroying pay raises being turned down by employers, millionaire presidents blasting $22 an hour wage increases. Meanwhile, storms are on the way. One hurricane forecast to extend 7 days. More time for Florida to watch and worry. Please, folks, plan, prepare. Do not let these dangerous storms wipe you and your family out. Evacuate and heed the warning signs. 2 more days to prepare or worry. Starting this storm season, the National Hurricane Center is making a notable change in its forecasts. It won't affect the cone of uncertainty, though. The tracking graphic just about everyone who lives in Florida or other coastal states watches with anxiety. Forecasters create the only after a tropical depression forms that graphic will stay at 5 days as usual. And the change will come from graphics the NHC produces before a depression forms. They rank the odds of disturbances and tropical waves morphing into full fledged systems within broad areas. Those forecasts provide twice a day. Will switch from a 2 day and 5 day chance of formation to a 2 day and 7 day chance. And we all know what happens when hurricanes hit Florida. Devastation occurs. There's a run at grocery stores, Sam's Club, Costco, Walmart, water, toilet paper, sandbags, everything. Folks, be aware, monitor the weather, and do not wait until the last minute to prepare yourself and your family because that could be proof fatal. Otherwise, for several months after Russian forces invaded Ukraine last February, the Russian economy seemed resilient. A spike in energy prices boosted Russia's oil and gas revenue and its largest source of funds. However, sanctions are finally beginning to strangle the Russian economy in ways that could set it back for years. Years, folks. Is this going to be a accelerated push for the BRICS system, or will Putin do something even more drastic? Meanwhile, costly and job destroying millionaire McDonald's president blasted proposal to pay fast food workers $22 an hour. Many currently make half of that. And, that is, you got to think about it. Everybody's complaining about inflation. Everybody's complaining about high prices. Everybody's complaining about the cost of food. Everybody's complaining about something. But I can tell you this: if I made this comparison just the other day. I was talking to Squirrel Tribe about it, and I said, well, if you want to pay an employee at McDonald's $22 an hour, then you need to be prepared as a customer to pay McDonald's $22 for a hamburger. Because basically what it boils down to is the cost of which these meals used to run, these menu item prices used to be, was pretty much consistent with the hourly wage that the employees would make. Therefore, an hour's worth of work could potentially earn you one meal, albeit excluding taxes being taken out of your check and added to the price of that meal. But it was roughly, six one way, half a dozen the other. But if you see companies like McDonald's paying $22 an hour for people to flip burgers, or really not even flip burgers anymore, push buttons on a computer, because most of this stuff is being automated now. I don't know if you guys have been to McDonald's here recently, but they're phasing out the employees. They're adding these terminals and these kiosks where you place your orders. Most of the process back of house is being automated, and they can really run these restaurants with like 3 employees at the most. A manager and 2 employees, maybe a manager, assistant manager slash cook, slash everything else. Like, they are getting bare bones. AI, OpenAI, ChatGPT, Bard, automation is taking over, and the demand from the employees to push for these wages is only further accelerating these companies and these businesses to make these changes to make sure that doesn't happen, because that just cuts into their profit, their bottom line. But ultimately, raising the wages of these employees would ultimately raise the price of the menu items, which could potentially have a negative impact on business and sales until it becomes, gets back into balance. So while it's out of whack, they're losing money. They would much rather invest in the intellectual property and technology to replace these workers and keep prices relatively low and affordable. Remember, affordable is going to be a relative term moving forward here, and continuously drive up revenues. And even if they don't drive up revenues, find ways to increase their profits, because that's what matters at the end of the day, profit. And it says that whether you're an economist or a single parent, you know that a job paying $22 an hour doesn't yield significant spending power. And in fact, the average McDonald's worker makes roughly half that much in 2023 at $11.96. And folks, this is why so many Americans now, so many people have more than one job. It's because one job cannot suffice. And we're seeing multi-generational living in one household to try to mitigate and split some of these costs. But even at $22 an hour, that is not a considerable amount of money in today's standards to really survive, okay? Especially depending on what parts of the country that you live in or are attempting to live in. I actually came across a young man. He was 22 years old, and he was sharing his story about how he was able to afford a Lamborghini, a McLaren, a Mercedes, and maybe one other vehicle, and pay $4,000 a month rent on his apartment at 22 years old. And, the simple fact of the matter is that 22 years old, he was probably making anywhere from 20 to 25 to 30, maybe even $40,000 a month in income. So he was able to afford that. Now, granted, his choices of expenses is a little out there, in my opinion. But at the end of the day, I've told you guys before, I'm going to tell you guys again, you have to make more money. You have to. And so perhaps it's understandable that the leader of that fast food giant recently blasted a California proposal to pay workers a $22 wage. It's a big jump, but was McDonald's president Joe Erlinger tone deaf to the point of ridiculousness? Comment down below. Let me know what you guys think. It says that Erlanger, who called the proposal costly and job destroying, pulled down $7.4 million in 2022 himself. And to put that into perspective, a worker earning $22 an hour, 40 hours a week, would need to grind it out for 162 years to make that yearly salary. That's crazy. But at the same time, yeah, it's job destroying. So again, I'll ask you guys this question as I asked it before. Let's just say a McDonald's employee makes $11 an hour, but they want to make 22. And let's just say McDonald's president Erlinger says, sure, I'll pay you $22 an hour. All right, everybody's happy, right? He goes, but I'm not going to pay more in payroll, so I'm going to cut 50% of the jobs. That way, McDonald's can continuously pay the same amount in payroll, in overhead and payroll. The employees can get what they want of a higher wage, but as it says here, costly and job destroying. So it's either going to be costly for McDonald's to make that wage. It's going to be costly for consumers to then afford to visit and engage in commerce with these businesses and buy their products and services. Or it's going to be job destroying, or both, costly and job destroying. So just wanted to throw that out there. And it says that, if you make more than the average McDonald's worker, good for you. But no matter the size of your salary, maximizing your paycheck is a smart move, especially in these days when the cost of just about everything is going up. And that includes McDonald's Egg McMuffin, which cost 22 cents more in 2022 over 2021. How then to supersize your salary? Read on. But, 22 cents on an Egg McMuffin doesn't seem like a lot, but I'm not going to lie. Where they get you is the a la carte menu items, where it was almost cheaper to order a meal. I went there for breakfast the other day. I was starving. A little bit of a hangover recovery. Don't judge. So I went over there, grabbed some big breakfast platters or whatever. But Michelle wanted a hash brown. It was almost cheaper for me to buy another big breakfast than it was to buy a hash brown. Hash brown was like almost $3 for a hash brown. Think about it. But the prices are going up, and they're getting their money to offset the higher wages that they're already paying now that they don't really want to pay anyway. So there's a list here, things that I've covered with you guys before about making a budget, shop grocery sales and delay gratification, automate your savings, put it all together, stretch the dollars, don't strain yourself. You got to have a plan. You got to prepare. Remember, folks, earn more money, spend less than you make, eliminate high interest debt, revolving debt, Have a budget. Save and invest. Remember, diversity, security, and cash flow. This is going to be what's most important as we plan, prepare, and protect. You guys, again, thank you for watching. I really do appreciate every single one of you. Please hit that like button. Comment down below questions, comments, concerns. Subscribe to the channel. Share this with anybody you think would be helpful to. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care. Bye.